What if the thing you throw away every single morning is actually liquid gold for your garden? I'm serious. That pile of used coffee grounds sitting in your trash right now, your tomato plants are begging for it. Your cucumber plants want it. And once you see what happens when you start using it, you will never throw coffee grounds away again. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact method I use at home to turn leftover coffee grounds into a powerful, all-natural plant booster. No chemicals, no expensive fertilizers, just something you already have in your kitchen and a few minutes of your time. Stay until the end, because I'm also going to share a coffee and eggshell combination that does something almost unbelievable for cucumber plants. You do not want to miss that part. Let's get into it. Before we get into the how, let's talk about the why, because once you understand what coffee grounds actually contain, it all makes sense. Coffee grounds are rich in nitrogen, and nitrogen is one of the big three nutrients that plants absolutely need to thrive. It's the nutrient responsible for lush, dark green leaves and strong, vigorous growth. When your tomato plants look a little pale, a little sad, a little like they're just surviving instead of thriving, nitrogen deficiency is often the reason. But here's the thing, coffee grounds don't just dump nitrogen directly into your soil in one big blast. They release nutrients slowly, over time, which is actually way better for your plants. A slow, steady feed is gentler. It doesn't shock the roots. It keeps the plant nourished consistently, instead of giving it one big spike and then nothing. Coffee grounds also improve your soil structure. When you work them into the top layer of your garden bed, they loosen compacted soil, improve drainage, and create tiny air pockets. And those air pockets, that's where roots breathe. That's where the good bacteria live. That's where all the underground magic happens. And here's the bonus that most people don't even think about: the smell. The scent of coffee grounds is naturally repellent to snails, slugs, and certain insects that love to munch on young tomato plants. So you're not just feeding your plants, you're also protecting them. This is why I say coffee grounds might be the most underrated gardening hack in the world. Okay, let's get into the actual method. This is simple. You can do this tonight. Start with about 1 liter of warm water. That's roughly 4 cups if you're measuring by cup. Warm water helps the nutrients release a little faster during the soaking process. Now add 2 teaspoons of dried coffee grounds to that warm water. And I want to stop right here and emphasize something important. The coffee grounds must be dried first. I cannot stress this enough. If you use wet, freshly used coffee grounds straight from your coffee maker, they will mold. Wet grounds in a closed environment will ferment in ways you do not want near your plants. Mold in your soil disrupts the healthy microorganism balance and can actually harm your roots rather than help them. So what I do is spread my used coffee grounds on a piece of newspaper or a tray, and I let them air dry for a day or two before I store them. Once they're dry, they're stable. They can sit in a jar on your counter for weeks with no issues. Okay, back to the solution. Once you've added your 2 teaspoons of dried coffee grounds to the warm water, give it a good stir and then set it aside. You're going to let this soak for a full 24 hours. I know, 24 hours sounds like a long time, but here's why it matters. Nutrients don't instantly jump out of the coffee grounds into the water. They need time to dissolve. Soaking overnight gives those nutrients, the nitrogen, the potassium, the trace minerals, enough time to fully infuse into the water. And the result is a gentle, well-balanced liquid feed that your plants can absorb directly through their roots. When you come back to it the next day, you'll notice the water has turned a light brownish color. That's your signal. That color change tells you the solution has done its job. The nutrients are in the water, stable and ready. Go ahead and give it one more stir before using it. Now, let's talk about how to actually use this solution on your tomato plants. First, timing matters. This solution is most effective when your tomato plants are in an active growing phase. That means they're putting out new leaves, new branches, or they're heading into flowering season. That's when the demand for nitrogen is at its peak, and that's when this solution is going to do the most work. Before you water, take a minute to prepare the area around the base of your plant. Pull out any weeds growing near the stem. I know it feels like a small thing, but weeds are quietly competing for your tomato plant for every drop of water and every bit of nutrient you put into that soil. Remove them and your tomato plant gets everything. Then take a hand fork or a stick and gently loosen the very top layer of soil, just an inch or two deep. Don't dig deep, you don't want to disturb the roots. This step is about aeration. When you break up that crusted surface layer, you're opening up channels for water and nutrients to move down into the root zone instead of running off to the side. Now you're ready to water. For each tomato plant, use about 200 to 300 milliliters of the coffee solution. That's roughly 1 cup. Pour it slowly and evenly around the base of the plant, keeping the water away from the stem itself. The stem doesn't absorb water, the roots do. So target the root zone, which extends outward from the base of the plant. Do this once a week during the active growing season. Not every day, once a week is plenty. Too much of any good thing can throw your soil's pH off balance. Coffee grounds are slightly acidic, and tomato plants actually like mildly acidic soil, but you still want to be moderate about it. Over several weeks of consistent use, you should start to notice your tomato plants becoming darker green, more vigorous, and producing more flowers.
All right, now I promised you something special, and here it is. When you combine coffee grounds with crushed eggshells, you create one of the most powerful natural soil amendments I've ever used for cucumber plants, and it's almost embarrassingly simple. Here's why this combination works so well. Coffee grounds, as we've talked about, bring nitrogen and organic matter to the soil. They improve aeration and help regulate moisture, all things cucumbers love. But cucumbers have one specific vulnerability that a lot of gardeners don't realize until it's too late. They're very sensitive to calcium deficiency. And when cucumbers don't get enough calcium, you get a condition called blossom end rot. You've probably seen it. The bottom of the cucumber turns soft, dark, and mushy. It's heartbreaking when it happens to a fruit you've been nurturing for weeks. That's where eggshells come in. Eggshells are almost pure calcium carbonate. As they break down in the soil, they release calcium slowly, right into the root zone where it's needed most. Calcium doesn't just prevent blossom end rot, it helps build strong cell walls in the plant. It supports healthy green leaves, it strengthens the stems, it literally makes the entire plant more structurally sound. And when you pair that calcium from eggshells with the nitrogen and organic matter from coffee grounds, you're creating a complete balanced amendment that addresses multiple needs at once. Here's the recipe. Take 2 teaspoons of dried coffee grounds and combine them with 2 teaspoons of finely crushed eggshells. For the eggshells, the finer the better. If you have a mortar and pestle, use it. The finer the particles, the faster they break down in the soil. Mix those two together in a bowl. This amount is enough for 2 to 3 cucumber plants. Now here's something important about where you apply this. You don't want to pile it right up against the stem. Concentrated material sitting against the stem can cause rot. Instead, sprinkle the mixture in a ring around the plant, about 30 to 45 centimeters away from the stem. Think of it like drawing a circle around the plant. Once you've sprinkled it, use your fingers or a small fork to lightly work it into the surface of the soil, just an inch or so. You're not trying to bury it deep, you just want to integrate it with the topsoil so it doesn't blow away and so it makes contact with the soil microbiome that will help break it down. After that, water gently around the base. The water activates everything. It starts pulling the nutrients down through the soil layers toward the root zone, and it also brings the beneficial bacteria in the soil into contact with the organic material so they can begin breaking it down. Do this every 2 to 3 weeks throughout the growing season, and the difference in your cucumbers will genuinely surprise you. They tend to grow more uniformly, they stay crunchier, the colour is more vibrant, and the overall quality is more consistent from fruit to fruit. Now, the common mistakes I see gardeners make when they first start using coffee grounds. Mistake number 1, using too much too fast. A little goes a long way. Coffee grounds are acidic. Tomatoes like mild acidity, but if you go overboard, you can drop your soil pH too low, which actually locks out nutrients instead of making them available. Stick to the amounts I mentioned, and if you're applying the dry mixture, do it no more than once every 2 to 3 weeks. Mistake number 2, putting wet grounds directly on the soil surface. We talked about this. Wet grounds mold. Always dry them first. And even with dried grounds, don't pile them in a thick layer on top of the soil.
Thick layers can create a crust that actually repels water instead of absorbing it. Keep it light and mixed into the topsoil. Mistake number 3, ignoring what kind of plants you're using it on. Not all plants love acidic conditions. Coffee grounds are great for tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and blueberries, plants that thrive in slightly acidic soil. But if you're growing something that prefers neutral or alkaline soil, like asparagus or brassicas, go easy with the coffee grounds. Tip number 1, save your coffee grounds all week. I keep a small container near my coffee machine, just a little jar, and I add dried grounds to it every morning. By the end of the week, I have a week's worth of material ready to go for my garden. Takes zero extra effort and means I always have a supply ready. Tip number 2, combine with compost for even better results. Coffee grounds are a great activator for compost bins too. The nitrogen in the grounds helps speed up decomposition, so if you have a compost bin, adding your dried grounds to it regularly is a great way to enrich your entire composting system. Tip number 3, keep a garden journal. I know this sounds old-fashioned, but writing down when you apply amendments, how much you used and what you observe in the weeks after, it transforms you from someone who gardens by guessing to someone who gardens by knowing. Even a simple notebook works perfectly. Let me bring it all together for you. Every single morning, millions of households in America throw away something that their garden desperately wants. Coffee grounds aren't waste. They're a slow-release nitrogen source, a soil conditioner, a moisture regulator, and a natural pest deterrent all in one. For tomatoes, soak 2 teaspoons of dried grounds in 1 litre of warm water for 24 hours, then water each plant about 1 cup of that solution once a week during the growing season. Loosen the soil first. Keep it away from the stem. Be consistent. For cucumbers, mix 2 teaspoons of dried grounds with 2 teaspoons of finely crushed eggshells, sprinkle in a ring 30 to 45 centimeters from the stem, work lightly into the topsoil, and water gently. Do this every 2 to 3 weeks. The calcium from the eggshells and the nitrogen from the coffee grounds work together to produce stronger plants, better fruit quality, and protection against blossom end rot. These methods don't require any special equipment, they don't cost anything extra, they work with what you already have, and they are grounded, no pun intended, in what plants actually need at a biological level. That's why this works. Not magic, just the right nutrients in the right form delivered to the right place at the right time. If you made it to the end of this video, first of all, thank you, genuinely. There are a million things you could be watching right now, and you chose to spend this time learning something that will actually make a difference in your garden. I appreciate that more than you know. Now, I have a question for you, and I really want to hear your answer in the comments. What are you growing in your garden right now? Tomatoes? Cucumbers? Something completely different? Tell me down below. I read every single comment, and sometimes the comments section turns into the best gardening conversation on the internet because people like you show up with their own tips and experiences. If this video helped you, please hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more gardeners who are looking for simple, natural methods just like this one. We're building a community here of people who believe you don't need harsh chemicals to grow beautiful, healthy food. Every like helps that message spread. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. I post new videos regularly with practical, no-nonsense gardening tips for everyday home gardeners. Every video is designed to give you something real that you can actually use. I'll see you in the next one. Happy growing, everyone. Take care.